Hello friends and welcome back. I'm Sister Deb. Today we're going to visit a cabin in the woods, just like I said last time. And I have learned a valuable lesson, which is never to say in advance what the next video is going to be about. There's so many distractions here, and I'm not really sure. I wasn't sure later what was in my head when I said that. So I sort of had to start over, but I decided to just go with it. Here in the MSBT archives, we have a replica of Father Judge's chapel. The real chapel is located on our original Mother House property in rural Alabama. We're told that it was originally a sharecropper's cabin built by the family who lived and worked the land before it was given to us. I'm sure that the original occupants and builders were descendants of enslaved people. To the right and in the back of the cabin is a smaller structure that we're told was originally a chicken coop. When we missionary servants first established our headquarters on that property in 1918, we used what was already there. We converted the cabin into a chapel, and the chicken coop became the sacristy. And also, it was used as a confessional. And also, it was used as sort of a little bedroom for Father Judge when he slept there sometimes when he was visiting. Now, this replica was already in this room before Sister Terry converted this space into the archives of the missionary servants of the Most Blessed Trinity 31 years ago. We don't know who made the replica. It needs some renovation, but it's very clear that someone with skills made it, and I'm really impressed with the detail. I'm kind of sad because we don't know more about who built this, and we don't know more about who built the original chapel. But in both cases, the work is good, and it has outlasted the builders. Maybe you've never been to Holy Trinity, Alabama, and looking at this replica has no meaning for you. So I'm going to put my archivist hat on now and explain what it might mean if you reflect on it. Why is the cabin in the woods so important? Obviously, we bring our own meaning and our own experiences to these situations. And this past week, I was working up here alone, and I received some bad news about a family member. And I was gripped by grief. I sat for a long time, just lost in pain, and at some point I became aware that I was staring at the chapel. I was staring at the cabin. I was staring at the door. And I was wishing I could go into the real chapel and sit on the real bench and talk to God, argue with God, yell at God. And a memory came flooding back. Many years ago, when I was on retreat and struggling with my vocation, I spent time in that chapel. And I was arguing not just with God, but I was also arguing with Father Judge and Mother Boniface. And I let them have it. I was arguing out loud like they were sitting there right with me. It was pure grace to have a place like that. To have a place away from everyone where I felt so safe, so at home, that I could argue out loud like that. That cabin in the woods was a safe place where I could talk to God, and everyone needs a place like that. We live in the real world, but we're not confined to it. Sometimes we need to step out of the real world and sit in whatever cabin we can find. last week I couldn't go back to that cabin, but I found a space somehow where I could have the same experience of letting God know how I really feel, which is the essence of a living relationship. So, I'll leave you with that. I'll see you again in a few weeks, and this time I'm not going to say in advance what the topic will be, because what if I change my mind? But I got a few emails after my last video, and I feel I should clarify that there's nothing wrong with nostalgia. I think I might have come across as if it were a bad thing. I think nostalgia is a good thing. It's a wonderful thing. I think it's a wonderful place to visit, but I don't think we should live there. So I hope that makes it more clear to you. So please subscribe if you want to hear more stories, and please leave comments if you have any thoughts or stories that you want to share. So I'll see you in a few weeks.